Welcome back to Good Morning Transfer. Some breaking news to bring you because Strasbourg have a full agreement in place for the former Wolves boss Gary O'Neill to become their new head coach. We understand that O'Neill will formally sign a 2.5-year contract soon. His first game for Strasbourg will be against the Avranches in the French Cup this Saturday. Of course, Liam Rosenior has become the new Chelsea head coach, and it looks like Gary O'Neill, your old manager, Cameron, is going to be in the dugout at Strasbourg. What are your memories from him at Molineux? Not all bad, surely.
Mostly, but that's partially down to the way he ended his tenure. What I really think is a good appointment for is the reason he was very good at developing some of the younger faces in the squad. He was better at bringing some players out of necessarily like the bench and stuff and bring the best out of them. Players like Cunha and Neto, who were already established first team stars for us at the time, he really brought the best out of these and gave them consistency. And I think with Chelsea's multi-club structure, and Strasbourg is the perfect club for him in the sense that all these younger players he's receiving, perhaps from other clubs under their umbrella, he can really develop them and knock them up a bunch in confidence and further their ability.
Yeah, as you can see, we've got Scarlett here as well. Away from that breaking news, we're talking Arsenal, we're talking Wolves, we're talking, firstly, dream signings this window. This is a whole dream world, Scarlett. It can be anyone you want. So give me your perfect dream signing. Then we're going to talk smart signings, and then we're going to talk gambles.
OK, so for context, this is really hard because I actually have my dream squad at the moment, not to brag.
That's probably the right answer, isn't it, as an Arsenal fan?
But I think probably where's my deepest keeping me up at night concern in the squad, and that's what if something happens to Declan Rice? So yeah, for me, Bruno, I know I'm not going to endear myself to many Newcastle fans here, but I think he's a player who can reach the very highest levels of the game. And I think in terms of what happens to Arsenal's midfield when Rice isn't in it, I know we beat Villa, but we got run through quite a lot. And to be honest, we were lucky not to be 1-0 down in that game. And I think the athleticism that Rice brings there, the just all-round game. I mean, my dream signing would be prime Steven Gerrard, but that's not possible. So Bruno, I think, would just mitigate that. He's creative, he's aggressive. I think he'd do very well at Arsenal.
I think there's a lot of Newcastle fans, your old team, a lot of Newcastle supporters watching say, keep your hands off him, but hell of a player, isn't he? I mean, there were big links with Manchester City over the last few windows.
Yeah, it would cost you a hell of a lot of money. I think, to be fair, when you mentioned Bruno, my first initial thought when you said replace Declan Rice was Sandro Tonali. I think he's got the energy, he's got the legs, he can get about the pitch. And when I hear the fans talk about Newcastle midfield, it's one of the best in the Premier League. A lot of people, yes, they mention Bruno, but I think Tonali now is creeping up to that level. And I think when Tonali's not on it and not playing, they really miss that energy. I think there was a masterstroke swapping them position to an 8 to a 6. I think they swapped over last year probably, and it's proved a masterstroke. But it's a really, really elite midfield, one of the best in the Premier League.
You've already said basically you don't need anyone, but that would be your dream. What's your smart signing for January?
So my smart signing would be Yan Diomande. From Leipzig.
Now, come on, I'm going to put you right on the spot here because I've heard so many people say this kid's name, and he's a wonder kid. Everyone's talking about it. I haven't seen enough of Yan Diomande to say I want him at my football club. How many minutes have you seen him play for RB Leipzig?
I can't answer that question. No, it's still a tough one because I think the smart thing to do for Arsenal this window is nothing.
Yeah.
You know, I think there's a temptation when other teams are trolley dashing to go and feel that you have to do something, but I think the reality is that in City's case that's a bit of desperation. So I think the squad is in a really good place, but what is the kind of long-term planning, what is the long-term question for me is still the left side. Like Madueke can go both sides. Trossard's having an incredible season. Eze's played on the left a bit, but since that game at Villa Park has not really been trusted there. So someone who's kind of athletic, skillful, can deal with those games where, the dreaded low blocks again. I feel that this guy, he's got the potential to offer us some help in those situations. And he's young, so some can learn for a bit, can kind of settle in at a club that's hopefully already very successful.
By the sounds of it, he's going to play for a very successful club in the future, that is for sure. Lastly, from you, Scarlett, roll the dice. Give me a gamble signing for Jan.
Yeah, in a similar vein, I think the gamble would be Rodrigo at Real Madrid. I know that it's all a bit... He always looks like he's halfway out the door there, to be honest, and always ends up staying. So whether he ever leaves Real Madrid, I don't know. But, where are the question marks in our team again? It would be that left side. Obviously, Trossard has really risen to that challenge this season, kind of unexpectedly. I think a lot of Arsenal fans were maybe expecting him to leave last summer, but Rodrigo has the kind of trickery, the ingenuity and the final product to kind of elevate that left side of the pitch to a sort of equal threat to Saka, which is the sort of dream scenario for Arsenal, I would say, in an attacking sense.
Dan, just on Arsenal, is that the problem side? Do you agree with Scarlett there, the left?
Not at the moment.
If there is to be any problems in that team.
Yeah, I mean, they're so strong everywhere. Obviously, Trossard is playing really well. Then Martinelli's been a really useful impact player at the moment. Although he's playing a lot of games, a lot of minutes, when he's on the bench, you know you can turn around and you can bring him on. And everyone's probably forgetting Max Dowman now. I know he's injured. There's a lot of talk about him at the start of the season. So signing too many players and the lure of Rodrigo and players like that, I know, is hard to sort of put to aside because they're fantastic players. But you don't want to keep blocking these kids' pathways because they're tremendous talents.
Come on, Cam, let's talk Wolves, shall we? Look, we've got old gold all around the studio, especially for you today. And look, Cameron told me as he walked in this morning, he said, we're beating Everton tonight. I don't know, is the greatest escape ever on? We shall see. 15 points adrift after Forest won last night. But let's talk.
Easy, but in 6 weeks' time, that could be so difficult. So, yeah, it's a nice position to be in. We can focus on ourselves and control our own destiny. But it's a long way to go, but it's nice to be 6 points clear. I didn't expect City to drop the points that they have done in the last 2 games, so it's a big plus.
Luke, first and foremost, is it Luke Henry or Henry?
It's Henry.
It's Henry on this show. I think I might have to start doing it now in public, Jay. It's getting nice.
He's been on Henry since week 1 of this show, Jay, and that's how it's staying.
Okay. Luke, what do you think of the midfield at the moment? Because Zubimendi, Rice, Odegaard's playing very well, but just recently, Eze's been out of the side. When everyone's fit, who would you like to see in Arsenal's midfield?
That's a great question, and it's just testament to the squad depth that we've got right now because Eberechi Eze hasn't played a minute in the Premier League since in December, and no squad in the Premier League is perfect. But I think amongst the Arsenal fans, I think if there's one position we'd like to do a bit of work on, is the midfield. We're looking at Zubimendi and Rice, especially Zubimendi. At times he looks like he's quite fatigued, and people forget it's his first season. So the adaptation to the Premier League football and the intensity in midfield is crazy, and he's been exceptional. And for some reason, Arteta hasn't looked at Christian Norgard for whatever reason, and we're not quite sure of that. So maybe the midfield, but it's what you want. And I think, it's so difficult for Arteta because, look, results are paramount. We need to win the Premier League title. Everything he does, you have to go and win the games of football. So you have to just address it to the game you're playing. Listen, there's going to be some teams at home that are going to be so tough to break down. So